What's the word? Top. But just want to tap in with y'all for a minute, while I'm on this highway, even though my road trip is pretty much over. But I just slid from that Arizona to this California. It's crazy, man, because California is beautiful, man, aesthetically. Man, I don't think I could ever live here again. Well, I ain't gonna say I could never live here again, but I only see myself visiting California. I don't see myself living here again. Not permanently, not full. Like, I don't see California ever being my main residence again. I barely even want to be in the United States, let alone California. What's popping with y'all though, man, on this Sunday evening, man? Okay, I see y'all starting to file in. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and tapping in with a pimp. Hold on, oh shit. Hold on. Oh shit. Get my love. Have to get my love. I ain't got my champagne flute on me. But I got a cup right here. Okay, I'm doing 1,000 things at once, man. Excuse my pimping. Hold up. Bumpy as hell. I was just talking about the other day how I like road trips, especially by myself. So I just took a little road trip, solo dolo, over here to this California, man. Ain't no telling how long I'm gonna be in the United States. So while I'm here, man, I got to pull up on my family and shit, man. Got to go see my moms. Got to go see my pops. I can't take that blessing for granted, man. I'm fortunate to still have both of my parents, man. And that's a blessing because I got a lot of partners who ain't got either one of their parents is gone or both of their parents is gone. A lot of my partners, man. I just seen on Facebook yesterday, one of my partners that I went to school with, man, his pops just passed away. So I'm just thankful that I still got both of my parents. So I got to go pull up on both of them. You dig? Cheers to the game. So if you still got both of your parents, appreciate it. You dig? But yeah, man, right? It's crazy, man, how much can change in just a year. How so much can change in a year's time, man. Now, I hate to just, put emphasis on certain bad things in the game. But at the same time, I wouldn't be myself if I didn't call a spade, man. And, the game already, the individuals in the game, I'll say, been going downhill for a minute, man, but shit. I was I was riding on the thing last night, right? Just taking a look at it. I wasn't even really trying to have nothing over there. I was just taking a look at it, and I might have said a few words to a few of them just to kind of like exercise, because I ain't popped nothing at nobody in a minute, right? But at least not like that, like outside, you did. But man, I was over there riding the thing, and this just go to show you how the game is really, individuals in the game is really going downhill, right? It was a good amount of bitches down, and mind you, this was Friday and Saturday night, right? It's a good amount of bitches down, but it wasn't hardly no trick traffic. Trick traffic was super light, especially for a Friday and a Saturday. Crazy. So that's just one thing that lets you know, like, the quality of individuals in the game is just constantly going downhill. It's bad when tricks don't even want these bitches. Tricks be, not all tricks, but a lot of tricks, especially a lot of tricks that be on the blade, they be desperate, they be addicted, they gotta have it, and they gonna get it, they gonna make moves in desperation, they gonna jump through flaming hoops, swim through quicksand, gargle peanut butter, do whatever they can, to date a bitch. So when tricks ain't even going to the blade no more because they fed up with the low quality of these bitches, that's what lets you know shit is like downhill, right? So I peeped that. That's like one of the first things I noticed. I was just like, damn, it ain't hardly no tricks out here. So I peeped that, right? Then another thing, man, like, bitches just be so disrespectful to the community, right? Because what you got to keep in mind is not every blade. You got some blades that's in commercial areas. You got some blades that's in industrial areas. But in America, most of the blades in America are in residential areas. They in somebody's community where people live, right? Now, real pimping, this pimping accordingly, is going to teach his people to respect the community. Meaning, bitch, if you down and around on a street where people live, then you need to respect that community, right? These bitches is so disrespectful. I was embarrassed on behalf of the game. The way these bitches be out there, right? Man, it was so much trash on the blade. So many empty bottles and empty cans from drinks. So many potato chip bags and candy wrappers, and it was crazy, man. Like, I ain't never seen trash from hoes on the blade. The whole time I've been in the game, I ain't never seen that shit. I done seen some trash. I done seen bitches leave trash on the blade before, but this shit that I seen last night and the night before, Friday and Saturday night, man, that shit was crazy. These bitches is trifling. But, at the same time, I can't go too hard on them because it's like they folks be around. The dudes that these bitches is fucking with be around. So they riding past they peoples and seeing all this trash on the ground in front of somebody's house, in somebody's yard. These bitches be leaving trash in people's yards. They be leaving trash on the sidewalk in front of people's houses and shit. Crazy, man. And they not even understanding. That's probably part of the reason why Tricks is fed up. Because, I'm not no trick. But just doing the best that I can to look at things from a trick's perspective. If a trick pull up and he thinking about fucking with a bitch, but then he see trash all around her, I would imagine that's a turnoff. because I didn't even want to pop no peas at them bitches, and it was a gang of bitches just standing around this trash. I was just like, God damn. And like the area that I'm talking about, because it was like one particular street where just all the way up and down the street, it was just trash everywhere, right? This trash. So I know these are the bitches that left this trash here. Across the street from where most of the trash was is an apartment building. They got multiple dumpsters right there. Like, bitch, walk across the street and throw the trash in a dumpster. How hard is that? And like I said, they folks be riding around. Like, if you a bitch's folks, how can you ride past your peoples and just see a bunch of trash on the ground that you know she left right there? You know what I mean? See, it's a lot of dudes that claim pimping, and on social media they make that shit sound good. These niggas ain't pimping though. I'm telling you, these niggas ain't pimping. Because it's just so many signs that show that they not pimping. Like I said, it's barely any trick traffic. And then even the little bit of trick traffic that's coming through, these bitches don't even know how to do, what they supposedly out there to do. So they ain't even trying to make nothing happen. They just standing around socializing. Or even if they ain't socializing, they just standing around looking sad, moping, head down, looking like they can't wait to get up out of there. Like they not happy to be there. They not there to run it up. They not excited about breaking on something. They not excited about, having a goal that they want to hit tonight. They not coming outside like, I'm going to stay down until I check at least 1,500. I'm going to stay down until I check at least 2 bands. They not coming out there like that. So, but they still surviving and they still coming out there, which lets these niggas is doing something else and acting like they pimping. So that's one part of it. And then 2, it's more to pimping than just accepting what somebody is willing to hand over to you. Pimping got order. Pimping got structure. Pimping got rules. Pimping got dignity. Pimping got integrity. And me, if I was to ride down the blade and ride past my peoples and see them with a bunch of trash on the ground around them, I'm tripping. I am tripping. You hoes is in trouble. Because that make my pimping look bad. How y'all out here representing me and you down and you got a bunch of, trash from Circle K and 7-Eleven and QT and all this shit, snacks and drinks and shit. You just got trash all on the motherfucking ground. I could just imagine how their houses look. Their house probably funky and dirty and stanky and all type of shit. That's why I said Tricks is probably just fed up with that shit, because I don't know, man. If I see that your car is dirty or your house is dirty, I'm just gonna assume that your hygiene is bad at the same time. So if I see a bitch standing on a blade and she got a bunch of trash around her, I'm just gonna assume that she got bad hygiene. Cause you lazy. I'm just gonna assume that you stink. Real. I don't want you. You don't qualify to fuck with motherfuckers like me. And like I said, I gotta call it out. I gotta say it is what it is. But at the same time, to a certain extent, I can't go too hard on the bitches, because it's like, who you fucking with that's allowing this? Who is your folks disallowing you? And it's everybody. It was like this street that I'm talking about that had all this trash on it. It's like 15, 20 bitches over there. And they all standing around this trash. Now, I don't know if all of them contributed to the trash, but if it's a street that got 15, 20 bitches on it, and they all up and down the street, and everywhere they standing up and down the street got trash by their feet, it's safe to say that the majority of them, if it's 15 of them, or let's just say it's 20 of them, if it's 20 of them, at least 14 of them done left some trash down there. Because my peoples ain't eating and drinking on the blade. It's a time and place for everything. You know what I mean? If you want something to eat or something to drink, you're gonna go somewhere and sit down and do that. You know what I mean? Somewhere that's out of the view of everybody. You're not gonna be on display doing that. It's just like you take a break with a regular 9 to 5. You take a break like if you go to Target or Walmart or something, right? They got break rooms. You know, if you go to Target and cashier ain't eating and drinking while they ringing your stuff up. They not eating and drinking on the job. They do that when they take their break. They go to the back, to the break room in the cut somewhere where everybody ain't watching them, and they not doing their job at the same time. They taking a break. And they go in the cut, and then when they done eating, whatever trash they got, they put it in the trash can. You know what I mean? So on the same token, bitches fucking with me, they gonna go somewhere and eat and drink if that's what they want to do or they need to do. Bitches walking up and down the street with plastic bags hanging on their wrists and got chips in it. They walking down the street eating with their mouth open. Bitches just ain't got no etiquette, man. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like I say all the time, like we say in the game all the time, right? When you accept a hoe, you accept everything that come with her, good, bad, and ugly. So that means if you accept a hoe, if a hoe choose your pimping and you accept her, and she got bad habits, you accepting those bad habits with her. So it's your job, it's your responsibility to check that and correct that as the pimping, right? That's part of why hoes choose pimps. You know what I mean? So pimping can help them tighten up where they fall short, right? So if you knock a bitch and you go to dinner with her at a nice restaurant and the bitch eating with her elbows on the table, it's your job as the pimping to check the bitch about that type of shit, because obviously ain't nobody taught her no etiquette. So it's your job as the pimping to teach this bitch how to be classy, right? Because she might go, you know, to a fancy restaurant on a date with a trick, and he giving her, you know, a nice lump sum of money. You want her to know how to conduct herself around this trick, right? So on the same token, like I said, if she going out with you, you know, if the bitch eating with her mouth open like this, it's your job as the pimping to say, hey, you know, that's not how you eat. You know what I mean? Obviously, didn't nobody teach the bitch when she was growing up how to properly eat when she's sitting down having dinner, or just when she eating, period. You know what I mean? It's your job as the pimping to check the bitch and correct the bitch and say, hey, you know what I mean? This is how you do this. You don't do this like this. You do this like this. You know what I mean? So on the same token, if you knock a bitch and she's down on the blade and she's leaving trash, like I would have made my hoes pick up all that trash, even the trash that wasn't theirs. That's what I would have did if I got some game on the blade and it's a whole bunch of bitches and they all done left trash and my game is included in that. My game done left trash on the blade too. I'm finna make my bitch, they finna pick up everything. Hey, bitch, get all this motherfucking trash from off the blade, bitch. You in front of somebody's house, bitch. You got trash in somebody's yard. Hey, bitch, pick up all this shit. But hey, this ain't, I don't give a fuck whose it is, bitch. Pick up all this shit. You know what I mean? This is your workplace, bitch. And it's somebody's neighborhood. You in front of somebody's house, somebody's property, bitch. Pick this shit up. You know what I mean? That's what lets you know, like I said, these niggas ain't pimping. And motherfuckers wonder why I get on here and kick game and chop it about this shit, because this type of shit is needed. You know what I mean? You know, it ain't really a lot of veteran pimping outside. So it's like a disconnect. It's a disconnect between generations, right? Because like when I was coming up in the game, when I was young and fresh in the game, it was a lot of veteran pimping outside. And if we did green shit, they used to chop us up, you know what I mean? But now it's not really a lot of that going on. It's a lot of young dudes out there that don't really know the game, and at the same time, it ain't really nobody around to teach them the game. You know? And beyond that, see, elder veteran pimping is more than just a mentor as far as the game, you know, as an elder veteran pimp is. Because teaching a bitch how to not leave trash everywhere, that's just some grown man and woman shit. That ain't even got nothing to do with no pimping and hoeing. That ain't even like no hell of a game. That's just man and woman shit. As a woman, you shouldn't be leaving trash on the street in front of people's houses. As a man, you shouldn't allow your woman to leave trash on the street in front of people's houses. That's just some man and woman shit, right? So, you know what I mean? Like I said, it's a disconnect between generations. A lot of I'll chop a motherfucker up in a heartbeat. It is what it is. That's the game. That's how I come up. So, hold up. I'm trying to read these supers and these jewels. Excuse me. Is that a 750 high? Clean ride P. Nah, it's not a 750, but it is a BMW though. I've been off that love all day, Freeze. Caleb, that's what's up, man. Got to keep the love in your body. Rich Reloaded say the appearance of interference. Exactly, man. And they not understanding. E-books, what's up with it, man? I see you done sent some jewels and shit, man. Good looking on the jewels, E-books. I can't see what kind of jewel it is, but I saw some jewels pop up while I was talking. But right now I can't see what they look like. Oh shit. E-books, good looking with the $2 holler. And you want us to pay top dollar? Hey, see, that's the thing about me though, E-books. Yeah, I want you to pay top dollar, but just me personally, I'm gonna put some quality out there. I'm gonna make sure you get what you pay for. I don't want to swindle you now. I don't want you to pay top dollar for some great value, quality bitches. You know what I mean? I ain't putting great value out there. You know what I mean? I'm gonna put some quality out there, you dig? So yeah, I want you to pay top dollar, but I'm gonna make sure you get what you pay for. If you fucking with my dig, that's just me though. I can't speak were these business pimps or gangbanger P's you saw. I don't know, cause I don't know these dudes, man. I don't really know them, so I can't say what they are, but I can say what they not doing. What they not doing is pimping. Cause when a hoe getting pimped on, things look totally different. A pimp can see when hoes is getting pimped on. You don't even have to know who they folks is. You can tell when a hoe getting pimped on. And you can tell when a hoe is not getting pimped on. Pablo Frescobar say, we need to invent a pimp planet for real. The only where you can't get in free and you gotta be a G. The only place where that's funny. Dig that for real. I wish we could do that. I'm going straight there. Davey Lee, good looking with the $10 holler, man. Appreciate you. Message. Motherfuckers want to call me now. Everybody always want to call me when I'm live, man. Self-Mastery, you sound like you play Dungeons and Dragons. Nah. I don't play games, I just kick game. And I am game. A game. But I ain't really into playing games, though. Message. Healthy Habits, excuse me, says, self-mastery is the power to control your own thoughts, feelings, and actions. Instead of reacting to sudden urges or hard times, you make calm and clear choices. It helps you stay focused. That is the one Hondan. That is the truth. You dig. Freeze is it. 10 years later, still tapped in, fam. Man, Aramis, that's what's up, man. I appreciate you staying down with this game for 10 years, man. That's what's up. You've been around since day one then, man. That's when I started, unless you was on Facebook even before now. Because that's when I came to YouTube 10 years ago. Yep. BMW with that red guts I see. Nah, these seats ain't really red. They look like that. Now it's dark, you can't really see. They kind of look red, but they more like a clay color. Yeah, they more like a clay. They more like a clay color. They not bright red like the red seats that I had before. I told y'all, man, I ain't drove a car in a year, man. It's a trip. But I love driving though, man. Feel good to drive, but feel good to not drive, not have to drive too. Beautiful California sunsets, man. I must say, California, we got the best sunsets, man. You dig? Sun rises in the east, but it sets in the west, baby. Yeah, man. But yeah, people got to have respect for the game, man. And it starts with respecting yourself. Because if you respect yourself accordingly, you're going to respect everything that you get involved with. It starts with respecting yourself. Like me, because I have respect for myself. See, when you have respect for yourself, you respect your belongings. And when you respect your belongings, that makes it where it's just natural for you to respect other people's belongings. And you respect other people. But when you don't respect yourself and you don't respect your own shit, then, it's hard to respect other people's shit. So that's why there's so much disrespect going on in the game. Bitches leaving trash on the blade. That shit is crazy. Crazy. Mac Jew, good looking with the $2 holler. I know you're gonna at least drive through that Fig. Probably so, man. I might take a look at it, man. I ain't been over there. Shit, I ain't been on Fig in a minute, man. Probably a couple years. Probably been a couple years. Like you said, just to take a look at it. I just seen the freeway signs. I just seen on the freeway signs. Oh shit. Cali, if we drive over 100, we lose our license. Damn, for real? See, that's what I'm talking about, man. Like, fuck that, man. That shit crazy. Eisenberry, good looking with the $10 holler. I've been on a binge of sinful videos and just got hit to your content. You speak on morals and principles often. I fuck with it, P. Appreciate you, man. Yes, indeed, man. Morals and principles is the foundation, man. Got to talk about that. Ain't nobody else talking about it. Everybody else just talking about, spending money on expensive shit and a bunch of stupid shit that don't matter. And being selfish and not thinking about nobody else outside themselves, not being a benefit to nobody, not being a blessing to nobody. So yeah, man, motherfucker got to kick some real game on here, though. You dig? So that's why Freeze is here, man. Freeze is here to kick the game, man. Lojo, good looking with the $2 holler. He bigger than me in the bitch. Oh man, my nigga T-Mac, man. I hope T-Mac is all right wherever he at, man. I know, I still think T-Mac probably around here in LA somewhere, man. I just don't know where, man. I wish I could find him. And police right in front of me too. He bigger than me in the bitch. Oh man, he wasn't lying though. Pippin was bigger than him and the bitch, and like half of me at the same time. Yeah, he was bigger than T-Mac, the bitch, and like half of me. Oh shit. No way. You know what, man? Shit, I don't know. He might have been bigger than all three of us, man. Hold on, let me see. Because I was smaller back then. Because I had to remember this before I started working out. So T-Mac was probably about 170, 175. I was probably about 185. So if T-Mac 175, I'm 185, that's 360. Yeah, nah, he wasn't bigger than all three of us. He probably is bigger than just me and T-Mac alone, though. And then like half the bitch. You know what I mean? The bitch was probably about 120, 115, yeah, I'll say the bitch probably was about 120. So that's 480. He wasn't no 480. He was $4 though. He might not have had the 80 cents, but he was $4 though, for sure. He didn't have the plus tax, but he had the $4 flat for sure. Freeze, do you believe it's pimp or be pimped all the way, or their nuance? In most cases, when it comes to most things, I do believe it's pimp or be pimped. But you know, if you being pimped, hey, as long as you got some good folks, you know what I mean? Shit, it's all right. And when I say being pimped, you know, like I'm talking about like being an employee, being a worker or something like that. You know, that's another problem in society right now too. Everybody think they a boss, or think they supposed to be a boss, or wants to be a boss. And everybody ain't meant to be a boss. You know, and that's something that my pops told me, man. I'd have told a lot of y'all this story before, man, but for those of y'all who ain't heard it, I'll say years old, man. This is before I got in the game. And I was in the streets hustling, and I was making some cool money. So, beats in the kitchen, he loved to cook, and he's good at it. Great. And at the time, you know, he was working at an auto body shop, so he was doing hard labor every day, back-breaking work, right? And I came to him one day and I was like, Dad, if you had the opportunity to open your own restaurant, would you do it? Now, because me, at that time, you know, I'm developing my entrepreneurial mindset, my independent mindset, you know, go out there and be my own boss and all that type of shit. This is my mindset. So I'm thinking, who wouldn't want to do that if they had the opportunity, right? So to my surprise, I'm just knowing that he gonna say yeah, but to my surprise, he said no, he wouldn't do it, right? And I was like, you wouldn't open your own restaurant if you could? Why not? Because if he would have said yeah, I was thinking about investing in him opening his own restaurant, right? But he was like, no, I wouldn't. I was like, dang, Dad, you wouldn't open your own restaurant? Why not? He was like, see, son, he was like, you the type, and he was telling me this when I was 20 years old. I guess Pop's just seen something in me that I don't know. I mean, I saw that in myself, but looking back in retrospect, like I wasn't nearly where I wanted to be, or I might have thought too much of myself, but whatever the case, right? Pops was like, son, see, you're right to run a business and have people under you and be responsible for those people and tell them and show them what to do and all of that. He was like, me, that's not for me. I'm the type of person that you just give me a task and I'm going to do that task. But I don't want to lead people. I don't want to be responsible for other people. I don't want to have to show people what to do and tell them how to do it and all. That ain't for me. And my pops is a man's man. You know, he ain't no buster by a long shot. He not no sucker, none of that, right? And he's very, like, highly intelligent, articulate, all of that, you know what I mean? Like everything that you would expect a real man to be, he's that. But he understands certain things about himself at the same time. And within that, he understands that, he's not meant to be nobody's boss, right? Or he's not meant to be an entrepreneur or run a business or any of that type of shit. That's not for him. He'd rather you just give him a job and he just do that job to the best of his ability, right? So my pops taught me that when I was, like I said, like 20 years old. And then my mom's, she's the same way. Because, this was years later. I was a little older, but I was having a conversation with my mom one day about, running a business and things like that. And she was like, yeah, I wouldn't ever want to have my own business. I'd rather just have a job and just, get somebody give me a job and I just, do my job. Now, of course, they come from a different time, but that showed me a lot when I had those conversations with each of my parents and learned that neither one of them ever want to be entrepreneurs or run a business or any of that type of shit, right? They'd rather just be workers. They'd rather just have a job. So, in a sense, I guess you could say they'd rather just be pimped on. So from that point, it's about some people's folks is McDonald's. Some people's folks is waste management. Some people's folks is Pep Boys. Some people's folks is Edison, McDonald's, Target, and some of them folks is better than others. But I wish more people understood themselves in that way nowadays, because the type of mindset that I'm telling you that my parents have about themselves, more people, if they were honest with themselves, they would realize that they're supposed to be that way too. If more people had the right perspective on life and themselves and understood themselves the right way, they would understand that, I ain't meant to be nobody's boss. I'm meant to just work a job. You need people like that in the world. You know what I mean? Like, just imagine the world if every single body just wanted to be a boss and was trying to be a boss. Like everybody trying to be a chief. It ain't gonna work. You gotta know your role, man. You gotta know how to play your position. Lavish, good looking with the $5 holler. Best of blessings, Big Freeze. Can we get you on some of these YouTube platforms that the P's go on? If you talking about like the platforms that I've seen them going on, most likely not. Like the no jumpers and the soft white underbelly and all that. And Vlad, I ain't going on none of them. But I'd fuck with, some of the black platforms and not even all of them. But what platforms you talking about though? Because you might be thinking of some ones that I'm not thinking of. Oh, say cheese. I I don't know about say cheese, man. You know, I don't know, man. You know, anybody that fuck with Charlatan White as tough as he do, you maybe kind of look at him like, you know, he fuck with Charlatan White super heavy. I don't know. I just, you know, see, and that's the thing too, man. Like, I ain't concerned with just being the biggest name and having the most clout and all that type of shit. You know, I got integrity, so, you know, I think about protecting my brand. I'm a brand, you know what I mean? And that's how anybody should look at themselves that's really on social media, creating content. Because whether or not you see yourself as that, the fact of the matter is you a brand. And that's how I see myself. I see Freeze as a brand. Freeze is a brand, right? So, you know, I have integrity with my brand, and I don't want to just align my brand with anybody and anything and everything and everybody. You know, I'm protecting my brand. I don't want to put my brand next to just anything and anybody. So, you know, no knock to anybody, no diss to say cheese or nothing like that, but, you know, he just associates with you know, the boy Charlatan White super tough, and, you know, I don't want to be next to anything that he's next to or in the same car as him or any of that. You know what I mean? So, what's wrong with soft white underbelly? Says T. Lucas. Okay, so T. Lucas, right? This is my thing with soft white underbelly. If you understand the premise of that channel, right? The name speaks for itself. Soft white underbelly. Now, I don't know if it's still there because I ain't been on soft white underbelly in a long time. But if you go to the channel, there was a video. It's probably still there. But there's like a video when you first go to the channel. Just like a video that explains the purpose of the channel. And he got that name from a quote from Winston Churchill. And I think he was talking about Italy or something like that. How like basically it's a soft white underbelly is like a vulnerable part of something, right? So his channel, Soft White Underbelly, is basically interviewing the vulnerable part of America, the ugly parts of America, the neglected parts of America, the broken parts of America, right? And that's cool. But, you know, with that being said, even if somebody goes on there calling themselves trying to make the game look good, you know, he don't look at the game like that. He looks at the game as a broken part of America. You know, a neglected part of America, like, you know, like something got to be wrong with you to be in the game. That's how he look at the game. You know, and if you pay attention to the interviews, when he asks questions that prompt negative answers. You know, like, are drugs a part of your life? You know, like shit like that. Whereas, if you look at Diary of a CEO, he ain't asking everybody if drugs is a part of their life. You know what I mean? That's just one example of a lot of the questions that Mark be asking on Soft White Underbelly. So, with that being said, man, you know, if I come on a platform, you know, I'm not going to shy away from the ugly aspects of the game, but I'm not going to be no sob story about the game neither, though. You know what I mean? Because the game is bigger than that. The game is beautiful, man. You know, it's individuals and ugly things that happen, but that's life, period. You know what I mean? There's no such thing as a lifestyle or a part of life that doesn't have some type of ugliness to it. Life is good, bad, and ugly, right? And I'm not gonna get on no platform that just want to put the magnifying glass on only the ugly parts of the game and don't want to put the magnifying glass on the beauty of the game. You dig? So you know, that's my thing with soft white. That's why I would never go on there. You dig? But you know, a lot of people I know personally who done been on soft white underbelly, and you know, I ain't mad at them. We still cool. I wouldn't get on there though. But like I said, I see myself as a brand, and I'm protecting my brand. It ain't got to be the biggest brand. It ain't got to be the brand with the most clout or the most well-known brand. But it's a brand of integrity, though. And it's a gamed up like a motherfucker brand, too. You dig? P, why you don't wear jewelry? You know, see, me, I always want to be. Now, of course, you know, a motherfucker got tools. Motherfucker got accessories. Motherfucker like nice shit. Motherfucker like to be fly and shit like that, right? But when it comes to certain things like jewelry, you know, the way I see jewelry is like, now don't get it twisted. The catch and come before the hanging. It ain't no knock to motherfuckers that have jewelry, but it's a few reasons why, right? One of the main reasons why is because I just have an image in my mind that I don't want to be a part of, right? But the way I see like niggas, black men going to the jewelry store with stacks of money and the jeweler just smiling and shit like that, you know what I mean? It just looked like a trick that's about to get broke by a hoe, you know what I mean? Like a trick with this stack of money and the hoe about to break his motherfucking ass and she just smiling and shit like that. That's how I see niggas in the jewelry store. I see niggas in the jewelry store like a hoe that's about to break on a trick. You know what I mean? That's just the vision, the image that I have in my mind. You know what I mean? Like when you see all these pictures and videos of these rappers with big ass stacks of money and the jeweler standing next to him like Johnny Dang and, you know, Ben Baller and it ain't no knock to them. You know what I mean? They getting their money. They doing what they supposed to do. But me though, I'm never gonna look like a trick getting broke on by a bitch. You know what I mean? Or by a hoe. You know, so that's one part of it. And then two, you know, no matter if you're intentional about it or if you're indifferent about it, but one way or another, we all speak with our appearance, right? Whether we realize it or not. And me, I realize that I speak with my appearance. So it's certain things that I want to speak with my appearance. And, you know, one thing that I want to speak with my appearance is that there's substance to me. And, you know, sometimes, you know, with the things that you possess, like material things that you possess, you can speak the wrong things, especially to certain people, like bitches, you know what I mean? Bitches steal jewelry. They rob tricks for jewelry and shit like that. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just, you know, it just ain't my thing. You know what I mean? I don't ever want to be seen like, because you got shit like that happens. You got bitches that rob tricks for jewelry, and then they'll choose a pimp with a bunch of jewelry and act like they finna hoe for him, and then a week or two later, next thing you know, pimp and wake up and all his jewelry gone and the bitch gone too. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know, man. You know, it just ain't my thing. And, you know, you know, I'm a beautiful pimp, you know what I mean? I'm a beautiful motherfucker, you dig? God bless me to be handsome. God bless me to have good genetics to where I could build my body a certain way. So, you know, I got certain things to my advantage that the average motherfucker ain't got. You know what I mean? You know, if you don't have the things that I have going on, then I can, you know, I ain't surprised by the fact that you want to go get some jewelry because you can't get in the gym and look like me. You know what I mean? You don't have the eye color that I have, the beautiful eyes that a pimp got. Hold on. You know what I mean? Hold on, let me see. You know, see when the sun shine on my eyes. Can't really see them right now, but you know, everybody wasn't blessed to be handsome like this, you know what I mean? So I can understand certain motherfuckers, you know, trying to make up for where they lack. I ain't mad at that, you dig? But me, I know God blessed me to be, so I don't have to do certain things to catch a bitch attention, you know what I mean? Like, this is gonna catch a bitch attention. You dig? And then not just that, but what I got to say out my mouth. Everybody can't talk like this. Everybody don't have mouthpiece, you know what I mean? Everybody don't know how to connect with a bitch and penetrate a bitch's mind with this game the way pimping do, the way I do, you dig? So, you know, I ain't mad at nobody for the jewelry and shit like that, but that's just me though, you dig? These is the reasons why I don't wear jewelry and why it's just never really been my thing. And you know, I'm thinking about, and then now, even now, right? This adds on to, like, and it's really it just reaffirms why it don't make sense to me to wear jewelry, right? You know, I've been traveling lately. I've been in different countries and shit like that, right? And, you know, even though I don't wear jewelry, it's other shit that I done spent a gang of money on, like the same type of money people would spend on jewelry. I done spent that kind of money on other shit, right? And when I be in these other countries, I be thinking to myself like, damn, I done blew all this motherfucking money and I could have came out here and bought some condos, bought some property, you know what I mean, invested out here, been collecting residual income like that. You know, that's the type of shit that I've been thinking about lately. You know what I mean? So, especially now with the mindset that I got now, I really can't wear no jewelry. Hell no. Because I know too many other things. It make way more sense to spend money on than some damn jewelry. You know what I mean? And then, you know, it make a bitch want to fuck with you for the wrong reasons, man. Like, I want a bitch to fuck with me because of my game. I want a bitch to fuck with me because of this and this. You know what I mean? Like, what I stand for and how beautiful my mind is. You know what I mean? That's why I want a bitch to fuck with me. I don't want a bitch to fuck with me just because some shiny shit that I got on my person. Nah. You know what I mean? A bitch could look at my body and see that I'm disciplined. A bitch could look at my body and see that, you know, I value myself a certain way. I don't put garbage in my body. You know what I mean? A bitch could listen to me speak and see that I put beautiful things inside my mind on a regular basis because of the way that I speak. You know what I mean? Bitch could tell that my mind is beautiful. So, you know, that's why I want a bitch to fuck with me. I don't want a bitch to fuck with me because, you know, she see some shit around my neck or, you know, shit like that. You know, nah. Because a dumbass nigga could have the same shit around his neck. And, you know, I don't want no bitch that's gonna fuck with a dumbass nigga. I want a bitch that want to fuck with some game. I want a bitch that wants intelligence. I want a bitch that want to get laced up. You know? I want a bitch that want to learn some shit. That want to grow mentally and spiritually. You dig? So, yeah, that's why I don't wear jewelry. I could go on and on about that, but again, to each their own. Everybody got their different shit that they like. You know what I mean? Mac Jew, good $5 holler. Do you wear cologne, P? I haven't heard you speak on this topic. If so, any tips on choosing a fragrance? Yeah, man. Hey, I just bought some cologne. Like 2 days? Yeah, a couple days ago, I just bought some new cologne, man. I can't tell y'all about that. That motherfucker fire. and I don't want nobody smelling like me, you dig? But yeah, man, I wear cologne like a motherfucker. Now, I'm a cologne connoisseur, you dig? I ain't no Kevin Samuels or nothing as far as like my savvy about fragrances and shit like that, but I got my shit that I like, you know what I mean? But I just bought some nice ass cologne. And I ain't telling y'all what it is, you dig? Just know that if you come around the Pimp, man, Pimp gonna be smelling real good, you dig? But for sure, yeah, I wear cologne for sure. Pimp like to smell good now. Oh, shit. R.P. Eddie Kane Jr. Yeah, man. I just seen that, man. And he been gone. Rest in peace to Michael Wright, aka Eddie Kane. You want my spot flash? You want my spot? Yeah, man. Rest in peace to that man. GFGN 16. Good looking with that $2 holler. Glory to the game. Yes, indeed. Appreciate you, man. The reason Supreme Network says, the reason I asked because I stopped wearing jewelry and a couple of player partners tried to chop me about it. Yeah, see, you know, can't nobody chop you if you got purpose. You know what I mean? See, me, I don't just do shit just to do it or not do shit just to not do it. You know what I mean? Like, I wish a motherfucker, I ain't gonna say I wish a motherfucker would, but if a motherfucker ever tried, I ain't never really had nobody try to chop me about wearing jewelry. But if a motherfucker ever did try to chop me about not wearing jewelry, man, shit, they gonna wish they ever did that purpose. You out. You know what I mean? Now, in particular, but like just in general, like if you feel insecure about your decision to not do certain things, like not wear jewelry, then you know you're gonna feel a certain type of way, and you're gonna shrivel up in the face of a challenge. You know what I mean? So if a motherfucker say something to you about you, it's gonna make you feel some type of way. You know. But if you know why you doing what you doing, then you know they gonna wish they didn't. They gonna wish they didn't. You dig? Cause I got something to say about that. I got a whole lot. I'm gonna make them with all their jewelry on. I'm gonna make them feel small as a motherfucker, while I ain't got no jewelry on. I'm gonna make them feel small as a motherfucker. Shit, leave me alone. Legend of Big Ray says, I wear Givenchy gentlemen only and it works. Yeah, it sound like it's probably nice. I bet it do. But I can't give up my cologne sauce, man, cause especially cause like I said, I just found a new one that just came out. The shit that I got the other day, that shit is brand spanking new. It just came out. And I ain't tell nobody about it. You just gonna have to get lucky or blessed and find out on your own. You know what I mean? Lavish say, real question. Cologne is too much cologne. How many sprays is enough? It depends on the cologne you get, man. You know, if you got some real good cologne, 3 or 4 sprays. You know what I mean? Oh, straight. You know, if you got some real good cologne, you could you know, do 3 or 4 sprays and you good. You know what I mean? Now, if you got some real good cologne and you do like 15 sprays, that's overkill. You know what I mean? Now, if you got some bullshit cologne and you do 15 sprays, you might be able to skate past, you know what I mean? But like if you got some good quality cologne, you only need like like a few spray, like two, like some colognes you only need two squirts. You know what I mean? Two, and you good. You know what I mean? Because it's good quality shit. You know? But sometimes you might be in a pinch, man. Like you might be somewhere and at the last minute you got to go somewhere and do something and you ain't got your cologne with you and you got to stop at CVS or some shit like that and just get like one of the old, you know, old faithful, old classic colognes, you know what I mean? Like Obsession for Men or some shit like that. You know, some shit that, you know, it ain't no exclusive shit, but it's cool. Or they sell all the Versace, well, not all the Versace colognes, but you know. But even with that, you wouldn't do no more than like 5 or 6 sprays. But most of the colognes that I be having, I do my best to get good quality shit. And I usually just do like probably 2 or 3 squirts and I'm good. 4 at the most. So. Six Sound says, what type of weapon should I have when I'm wearing my jewelry? You talking about like a physical weapon? Shit, whatever you feel like is gonna be effective. You know? And that's another reason why I don't wear jewelry too, because like I'm not trying to get robbed. I don't want nobody attempting to rob me. I don't want to get hurt, and I don't want to hurt nobody. So, you know, I don't like having to look over my shoulder and worry about if niggas is gonna try to get me and all that type of shit. And then, you know, see, that's something I didn't mention too, but you know, being from LA, man, like LA is home of the jackers. Niggas will get you in LA, you know what I mean? And I know that. I'm from there, so you know, like when you come from the home of the jackers, like you're not gonna set yourself up to be one of their victims, you know? So that's another reason why I ain't really into the jewelry, because you know, niggas is good. As much as you might think to yourself, like, yeah, I got that thing on me, I got the cannon on me, man. You know, a motherfucker tried me, they gonna get this, that. Hey, it's a lot of motherfuckers that get robbed with their pistol on them, and it's a lot of motherfuckers that die with their pistol on them. So, you know, pistols don't make you bulletproof. You dig? And it's like, I don't want to set myself up to attract the kind of attention that's gonna put me in that position. I'm cool. You know what I mean? And like I said, you know, I got certain things to my advantage that's gonna catch a bitch's attention and keep a bitch's attention to where I don't have to rely on nothing like that. You know what I mean? So that traveling make you move different in the States or same perspective, says Uncle Zell. You know, what it has done is I appreciate certain things better. You know, it's changed my perspective on certain things, man. Like as far as what I value, what's important, what I appreciate. Yeah, traveling has affected that in a good way. You know, because when you go to these other places and you see how people live and you see what they value and what's important to them, it make you think about, like, you know, like us in the United States, we really got it too good. Like, we got it way too good here. And it's not good for us to have it so good. It's not good for us to have it as good as we have it. We shouldn't have it this good. And when you go other places and you see the beauty in not having it so good, you know, it makes you appreciate different things about life. So, yeah, man. That's for sure. Ty Raymond, good looking with the $5 holler. Freeze, do you break a... Can you spin a yarn about your first breaking and spit game on this topic? Yeah, my first breaking. Well, I'll say like my first breaking from a hoe that really was fucking with me. You know, I had got little break-ins here and there from bitches that was like, you know, playing around and shit like that. But far as like my first breaking where I knocked the bitch, I gave her some instructions, she went and followed my instructions, and then she came back and handed something to me as a result of following my instructions. That breaking, yeah, man. And it's funny because I was just watching a clip which some of y'all I'm sure have seen it too, where Simple was talking about his first breaking, but he was talking about, you know, my first breaking in the midst of that, right? But anyway, I had knocked this little bitch named Shay, and I had been at Shay for a little minute, right? Shay had a friend named Juliet, and that's how I first met Shay. She was with Juliet and I was with Sinful, and me and Sinful was both trying to have Shay and Juliet, right? And no particular like, you know, he was at Juliet and I was at Shay. We was at both of them. Like however it sliced out, whichever way it went, me and Sinful was trying to have Shay and Juliet, right? Now when we first met them and got them out of pocket, we didn't end up coming up with them, right? You know, me and Simple green as a motherfucker. We fresh in the game, right? But we trying to have these bitches. We end up not coming up with them right away, but we would see them around and shit, right? And so that's when I first met Shay. And then I remember some months after I first met her, maybe a couple months later, she called herself trying to fuck with me, but the dude she was with at the time had her daughter. Like her daughter was with, it wasn't his daughter, but he had the bitch's daughter. And according to the bitch, which you know, you gotta take the salt, but according to the bitch, she was like, yeah, you know, I wanna fuck with you, but you know, he got my ID certificate, he got my daughter, he told me he ain't gonna give me my ID and my birth certificate. So basically the bitch was scared to leave him. So I didn't have her at that time. Then, probably a month or two after that, I seen her and I ended up having her, right? Now, at the time, it ain't no more, but at the time, Harmon Avenue in Las Vegas was the track. Hoes was down on Harmon catching dates. It wasn't the most booming track. It wasn't the most active track, but it was a track, right? So I was staying on Harmon Avenue at the Harbor Islands at the time. So when I get Shay, you know, I step out, you know, when you step out the Harbor Islands, you right there on the blade. You right on Harmon Avenue, right? So I'm telling the bitch where to go and what to do, right? And the bitch, you know, she walked down the street. I'm watching her. She walked down the street. She don't even make it to the corner. And somebody in the H2 on 26s pull up, right? Clean ass H2 on 26s. And, you know, she say a few words to the motherfucker. She hop in. So the bitch, she disappeared, do the Houdini. not the Houdini, but the Houdini, you know, and she disappeared and reappeared with a trap. Now, before I sat her down, I told her some prices and shit, right? Learned a hard lesson in doing that. But, you know, I was like, yeah, you know, for this, do this, for this, do that, you know what I mean? This amount for this amount for that. So, when the bitch get done with this individual, she come meet up with me and you know, break herself. And that was my first breaking. $350, right? That's my first trap, $350. And you know, she telling me how the date went, right? And she's like, yeah, he was an NBA player and he had a bunch of money, and you know, him and his partners, you know, they had a bunch of jewelry, bunch of money. And I went to his room, he was staying in his penthouse, and he had a bunch of money laying around and whoopty whoop. So I'm like, well, damn, bitch, if he had all this money, how come you only got $350? She was like, because that's what you told me to get. Ah, shit. You know, the bitch followed my instructions a little too good. So I was like, damn. So like I said, you live and you learn, you pimp and you earn. And I earned some game from that. You did? So, but yeah, that was my first break. Harmon Avenue. Yeah, Harmon Avenue is where I first took a look around, seen it juking down, set that hooker down. You dig? Right, Lojo, yeah, Jermaine O'Neal. So that's what I didn't say, right? So when she was telling me about this NBA player, she described him. She was like, yeah, he was real tall and dark skinned and he got braids. And I just put it together that it must have been Jermaine O'Neal because I had seen Jermaine O'Neal earlier that day at CVS down the street. And that's what I didn't mention also. The summer league was going on in Vegas. So all the NBA players was in Vegas, you know what I mean, for the summer league. So, yeah, I'm not 100% sure it was him, but based on my estimation, I kind of guessed it was probably him. You did? But, yeah. Bless her heart, for real though. Hey, at least the bitch knew how to follow some instructions though. We can't take that from the bitch, you know. Shit. Laugh my ass off, damn. What's the game on choosing fees in general? Hey, it's to each his own on that, man. You got to get your feet wet, get active. You got to figure that part out on your own, man. As far as choosing fees. But one thing I will say about choosing fees, the purpose behind the choosing fee should be for a bitch to show and prove. Because it's like I was telling my daughter the other day, right? And this ain't got nothing to do with the game, but you know, my daughter, she be driving her mom's old truck because my daughter got her driver license now. She be driving and shit now, right? And her mom got an old pickup truck, an old Dodge Ram that she don't, you know, she don't drive no more because she got a new car. So the Dodge Ram, my daughter is mainly the only one to drive it, right? So, but it be having mechanical problems. But the main reason why it be having mechanical problems is because my daughter be kind of driving kind of rough on it, you know what I mean? And I was telling her, I was like, see, you know, because you don't have to pay for this truck. And it have been a few times where me and her mom came together and went half and got the truck fixed several times and shit like that, right? But I told my daughter, I said, you know, you be driving rough with this truck and you be kind of careless because you don't have to pay for this truck. you know. So because it don't cost you anything when the truck break down, or when you break something on it, you know, you kind of drive a little more reckless. But if you the one that got to come out of pocket for this, then you're gonna have better care for it. You're gonna have better appreciation for it, right? So on the same token, it's the same thing with the pimping. You know, if you give a bitch your pimping for free, you know, she gonna utilize it, but she ain't gonna appreciate it the same as if she got a price to pay for your pimping. And you know, the bigger the price is to her for your pimping, then the better she's gonna appreciate it, right? And that price isn't only necessary, or shouldn't only necessarily be monetary, right? Like with me, it take more than a monetary price tag for a bitch to fuck with me. You know, it's been situations where a bitch did have the price tag to have with the price tag, and you know, she could so, you know, because all it takes is a certain amount of money for a bitch to get next to you and fuck with you. Hey man, you opening yourself up to a lot of bullshit. So yeah, man, you know, you want to have more than just a monetary price tag. Basically, it's about a bitch showing and proving herself. That's what that is. Oh shit. The nachos, wow, they grow quick. Welcome back, Freeze. Man, for real, seemed like I was just changing her diaper. Now she be asking me for gas money and shit. But she got a new job now, so as soon as she get that first paycheck, she can't get no gas money no more. She might could get some now, you know what I mean? But I think, you know, she probably gonna get paid like in a week or two. As soon as she get that first paycheck, no more gas money from dad. You dig? You have to buy your own gas then. But yeah, man, I done made it to my destination, man. I just wanted to come on here and chop game with y'all for a little minute, man. But now that I'm pulling up to my destination, I'm gonna wrap this joint on up. As always, I appreciate y'all for tuning in and tapping in with a pimp. I appreciate you for all your comments, questions, jokes, input, feedback, all that good stuff. I appreciate you for liking the video and sharing the video. I appreciate you for subscribing and hitting the bell when you subscribe. I appreciate the super chats, the jewels, the PayPals. I ain't got Cash App no more, unfortunately. But if you thought about giving me a Cash App, but you couldn't, I appreciate you for the thought. You did. I appreciate your support in every which way that comes with it, man. Y'all already know who it is and what it is. Freeze is it. If you out in traffic moving around, please do so in a session. And of course, long live the incomparable Sinful to P. We out.